Hello wrestling fans, the Wrestling Wizard here and welcome to another video. Now I still cannot believe it's been since May 2022 that we last saw Randy Orton on WWE TV. Now of course Randy Orton has been off WWE TV for a while now because he's been dealing with a serious back injury. So much so, it actually looked like at one point it was going to be a career-ending injury. Thankfully, there's more positive reports that have come out recently. Kurt Angle on his podcast, and of course we know how close Randy Orton and Kurt Angle are in real life. They're really close friends. And he pretty much said, indirectly, that Randy Orton has recovered fully from his back injury, and it's only a matter of time until he returns to WWE. Now, we can't just believe Kurt Angle, but it's a pretty credible source in Kurt Angle, really, isn't it, when he says things like that? And of course there's been more positive reports as of late that potentially WWE have got some major returns in the pipeline. What if one of those returns is the return of Randy Orton? That would be epic. Now, of course, in this video, we're going to look at scenarios, ways that WWE could return Randy Orton. But I got to start off by saying Randy Orton, on a personal level, for me, was one of my favourite superstars of all time. It seems like yesterday that it was 2009 and Randy Orton was punting the skull of Vince McMahon in a lead up to the Royal Rumble, which of course he won back in 2009. It seems like yesterday the whole legend killer gimmick, the feuds with The Undertaker, the feuds with John Cena, the Evolution days. I mean, wow. You cannot deny Randy Orton, whether you like him or hate him, is a surefire Hall of Famer. What do you think? Get down in the comments section. You a fan of Randy Orton as much as I've been? He's a legend, isn't he? He really is. So of course, being a mega fan of Randy Orton, I'm anticipating his return like I know many of you are. So how are WWE going to return Randy Orton, assuming he's definitely ready to come back? I just got this feeling he's going to come back at SummerSlam. When you think of SummerSlam and Randy Orton, synonymous with Randy Orton, isn't it, really? You only need to think back to 2004 when, of course, Randy Orton became the youngest, at the time, World Heavyweight Champion of all time. 2016 when, of course, Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton went at it. We'll get to that in a moment. But Randy Orton is very connected to SummerSlam, extremely connected to SummerSlam, and it'd be a hell of a place to bring him back. We know how close he is to Paul Levesque, aka Triple H. Of course they are. The feuds that those two had together, of course their time together in Evolution, you got to think that Triple H would be a fool not to have big plans for Randy Orton if he's ready. And what better place to return him, in my opinion, there's no better place than SummerSlam. Now let's kick things off with scenario number one. Now, being brutally honest, I'm not a massive fan of this option. I don't want it to happen, and allegedly this was actually WWE's plan before Randy Orton got taken off WWE TV. But the predictable, lackluster, lazy booking option of having Orton turn on Riddle. Why do all tag teams have to break up in such sadistic fashion? I just think it would be a weak way, a lazy way of booking things for Orton to turn on Riddle. I don't think it'd be that compelling to see Randy return and get in a feud with Matt Riddle. Personally, I don't really want to see it happen. Just have them go their separate ways. Have them together in a segment, maybe, in an embrace, and then maybe you can do something later down the line. But for now, I just think that would be a little bit weak. Now that brings us on to scenario number two. Now I'm much more of a fan of this option, to be honest with you, because I know how much history Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes have. Now, of course, Cody Rhodes is taking on Brock Lesnar in what's going to be a brutal one-on-one match at SummerSlam. There is going to be violence on another level. And if you think back to violent SummerSlam matches, you can only look back to SummerSlam 2016 when Brock Lesnar annihilated Randy Orton, bloodied Randy Orton, just beat him to within an inch of his life. Like, it was absolute madness. So you got to think, Randy Orton never truly got revenge on Brock Lesnar. He didn't, did he? He never did. But Cody Rhodes is now in a matchup with Brock Lesnar. Randy Orton could return to aid Cody Rhodes. His friend also appears when he returns in Cody Rhodes. I don't think it makes any sense, if you're going to return Randy Orton at SummerSlam, to return him straight away as a heel. No sense whatsoever. He's going to get a huge pop, Randy Orton, a mega pop, probably one of the biggest return pops of all time. So that would be a great way to bring him back. He gets his revenge on Brock in some subtle way. he helps his friend in Cody Rhodes, and then you can add layers later down the line where Orton turns. A snake in a cage is still a snake after all, right? You can't trust the apex predator, the Viper in Randy Orton. He can strike first anytime, any place. That RKO can literally come out of nowhere, and over time, maybe Cody Rhodes has this trust, and Randy Orton trusts him as this like mentor of the past. We can't forget the days in Legacy, right? Randy Orton's stable where he pretty much nurtured Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase Jr. at the time. Now we forget about the fact that they had a triple threat match between the lot of them at WrestleMania 26 and Orton won. But what if we get a feud between Orton and Cody Rhodes? That would be next level. And of course, this is a sneaky way as well of swerving Cody Rhodes away from the undisputed title scene. Now, of course, he can't compete for that title being on Raw, but WWE have done their best job to swerve Cody Rhodes away from the World Heavyweight title. And that's not because it doesn't mean anything. That's because I believe they have unfinished business with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, which would be a nice little segue in at a later date. And talking of Roman Reigns, that brings me on to scenario number 3. This is one of my favourite scenarios also, but return Randy Orton in the biggest moment possible. And that biggest moment could be the main event of SummerSlam. We could have Randy Orton and Roman Reigns face to face at the end of the matchup, which Roman Reigns won. He beats Jay, he stands in the ring victorious, and just like Brock Lesnar appeared at that SummerSlam out of nowhere, and Roman Reigns is like, oh my goodness, I've got him now. What if it's the same scenario, but it's Randy Orton? You close the show with the Randy Orton return as a pop. Roman Reigns and Randy Orton face to face in the ring, and you know a feud's coming up. Roman Reigns indirectly cost Randy and Riddle the tag team titles. As a result, Jey Uso was able to get the pin. Roman Reigns was responsible for Riddle and Orton losing the tag team titles. Now, I know that's not much of an incentive to go after the top dog, but what if Orton just wants to go after the biggest dog in WWE, the tribal chief, the head of the table? And what a feud that would be, and what a great way of having Randy Orton and Roman Reigns in an epic feud for 3 or 4 months or even longer so. And again, that keeps Cody and Reigns separated for even longer. You've got these Solo Sikoa, Paul Heyman teasers in the background. Will Solo turn on Roman? Will Paul Heyman turn on Roman? It would be a little predictable, I think, at SummerSlam if we get Paul Heyman turn on Roman or Solo turn on Roman. That's the most predictable option you could probably go with, right? What if we see something different? What if we get the show closed with this Randy Orton moment? It would be epic. Just imagine the tribal chief, the head of the table, is standing in the ring, victorious, holding his belt up in the air. Paul Heyman's got the other two in the background. And then Randy Orton's new updated version of Voices hits. We would lose our minds. It'd be absolutely epic. If you haven't heard that theme, go check it out. It's a slightly rockier, more up-tempo version of Voices, and I think it's pretty cool. I've been cranking it up in the gym as of late. What do you think? Get down in the comment section, share your thoughts and opinions. What scenario do you like, or do you have another option up your sleeve? But I personally feel, we've seen it in the past, Reigns and Orton is a good feud. It'll be a great feud and a legitimate contender for Roman Reigns. Randy Orton is someone you would legitimately think stands a chance in beating Roman Reigns. Really, like seriously. Thank you so much for watching the video. As always, it's very much appreciated if you could like the video, share the video, and even better, subscribe if you're new. We'll catch you in the next one.